Hi, this is Diana, and this is the third episode in the series of Future Proofing in Scary Times. So, we have been here talking about visualizing the future, discovery driven planning, which is really about the iterative planning that you need in this time of uncertainty. And the third episode is about building community. So here's the recap, 10 minutes or so, and key takeaways for you to share with your friends, colleagues, team, if you'd like. And if you've missed the opportunity to see us on Facebook Live. So what do we have here? Building community in a time of uncertainty, in a time when we are dealing with the pandemic. More about it later. So these are scary times for a few reasons. In particular, for smaller businesses, they are looking at overcoming declining sales, prioritizing with fewer resources, and pivoting to new or adjacent businesses, given 1 and 2. So when we talk about building community, I'm not talking about having 500,000 Facebook followers or the usual building of community. I'm really talking about what to do with your community when it's in this moment, in this pandemic, in this difficult time. So if you are a growing business or if you're not a growing business, I led a sales team at Financial Times, and I know that this was certainly true. The natural inclination is to always be chasing the next subscriber or customer or sale, right? We're always trying to meet our targets. And somehow it is human nature to focus on growing the list or certainly growing your revenue. And then when we have these moments, it's really profoundly dislocating. So at the moment, people are craving certainty. And so building your community is really about taking a deep breath and going back to you, right? So those are your clients. Going back to them to say, maybe here's part 2 of the workshop that we were doing together, or going back to talk about maybe different ways that you might partner with each other. The second is with your network. So we all have people we meet and say, oh, we should get together and do, a joint project. Or for instance, I have somebody that I met recently, and we were talking about writing articles together. I've written for Fast Company, she's written for Harvard Business Review. And in fact, we both lost our parents recently and decided to collaborate on an article about how to run your business while you are dealing with both grief, and I think everybody is really affected by just what's going on in the world. And I'm happy to say this morning, Inc. magazine took that piece. So that was a really nice way to give back. Then the third one is employees. We tend to forget that we have people around that we could be pulling together. And I think that if you are leading your own business or leading your own team, then there's a sense that you should pull your socks up and be infallible and not let anybody else know that you have any weaknesses. I think it's important for you to be calm, cool, collected, and going forward. But don't forget that a lot of the solutions that might come up are going to come from your employees. So that is about mining your existing relationships and really going to the people who you've been working with and seeing what kind of work you can do with them again. More ideas to create value for a community. I've seen this in what's going on. Sometimes it's about rallying around together to raise money for a cause, or even more interesting, partnering with other businesses to create new things that are needed, be it you know, a new way to supply things, or new ways to let your staff go um, forward. And you know, if you have needs and they have extra excess capacity, then maybe you can take their staff, or that kind of thing. So a lot of opportunities to be clever. Loyalty programs that bring people together. A lot of people who have big events businesses are now, rather than having one person speak on a stage to so many people, thinking about how to bring people together and be the connector and the facilitator. So HR leaders who are really struggling in this time. I know in Hong Kong, we've had, I think, I've lost count, 12 weeks of working from home, and being able to be an HR leader that supports that and such. We've been able, in some cases, through one of the companies that I work with, to bring those people together. So it's not about a conference. It's really about them coming together virtually on Zoom or whatever to share experiences. What are you doing? What's working? How can I help? Etc. So those are all ways. So I talk about starting a community garden. It's a bit like that. Everybody has their part to play in nurturing the ecosystem as a whole. And, you know, if you're a business, you can charge for that. There is, you know, something that you can do. You can charge for it in terms of bringing people together because it is profoundly valuable to their business. And you can look at ways to generate new ideas, white papers. You could even do a book based on it. I think if you're taking notes on this, there's definitely going to be some lessons learned to come out of this. So these are all ideas for you to go back to the people. It's really about focusing more on the people that you know. And if you haven't built a community from, you know, this moment, it's sort of like the adage that if you haven't planted a tree, you know, the best time to plant one is now, because in 10 years or in 20 years, you can look back and think about the community that you've built, the strategic network of people that you've built, that you know beyond just first meeting them, or who know you beyond just seeing what your company does or buying your products. And that is really and ultimately what I mean by community. And then the last piece of advice that I have from my building my own communities, both for board directors as well as for the Future Proof course, is get out of the way. It doesn't have to be about you. So in the Future Proof course, we have a group of people who are really transitioning from massive success to figuring out what's next. And I have been grateful for my ability to just bring them together, put them through a course that gives them a common language and a common journey, and then allow them to help each other. And that is truly the strength of community, is setting up an environment to allow people to connect and to help each other out and challenge each other. And so my experience in this moment is that those are the communities and networks that are really the ones you can go to advance your business. So feel free to ask questions if you'd like. Send me an email at Diana@DianaWuDavid. Connect me on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook. And I look forward and hope that was helpful in giving you a few ideas and things to think about during the pandemic. Take care and talk to you soon.